There's few things in life that we can rely on, but one of those things is that the movies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe will always contain Easter eggs, and a ton of them too, to boot. The latest addition to the MCU is no exception. Avengers Endgame, the culmination of 11 years of Marvel movies, is chock full of references, to the point where it's like borderline self-reflexive. So we're coming back at you today with a part 2 of our Easter eggs list, with the top 10 Avengers Endgame Easter eggs you missed. Now some of these are Easter eggs, while others are references to past MCU movies that you might not have caught the first time around. Also keep in mind that this video contains some major spoilers for Avengers Endgame, including one that discusses a key plot point for the film's outcome. So with that in mind, let's get to it. And at number 10, vintage Ant-Man helmet. In the film, Captain America, aka Steve Rogers, and Iron Man, aka Tony Stark, travel back to the 70s after their first attempt at obtaining the Tesseract fail. Going back to get more Pym particles along with the stone, Steve has to find a way of distracting a younger Hank Pym, a brilliantly de-aged Michael Douglas, who then runs out of his lab so Steve can slink in to grab the particles. When we first see Pym, the camera pans across his lab, and you can spot a vintage Ant-Man helmet sitting on a counter. This is the helmet that Ant-Man initially wore in the comics when he first debuted, and perhaps in the world of the MCU, this was a prototype that Hank was working on. Up next, number 9, Fortnite. After Fortnite and Marvel's successful crossover in the Battle Royale game back when Avengers Infinity War came out, it should be no surprise that Marvel and Fortnite would collaborate again. While the news of a new in-game crossover event broke a few days prior to the film's release, it may have been a surprise for fans of the game to see the game actually being played in the MCU by Thor and his pals Korg and Meek. When Hulk and Rocket go to see Thor at New Asgard, Thor is chugging back beers and playing online, or at least Korg is, and then even threatens an annoying kid over their headset. Up next, number 8, Budapest. Black Widow and Hawkeye have had a hell of a long ride together working for S.H.I.E.L.D. Long before the Avengers Initiative began, these two were out working field missions together, and they forged a really close bond. As they head out to retrieve the Soul Stone on Vormir, they're flying through space, and Hawkeye makes a comment about Budapest, noting how much more wild this mission is in comparison. This is a reference to 2 lines that Hawkeye and Black Widow have in the first Avengers film. In that movie, Natasha says that the Battle of New York reminds her of Budapest, and Clint responds with, "You and I remember Budapest very differently." While we still don't know exactly what went down in Budapest, it was clearly a memorable mission for these two. And at number 7, faint clanging. While there aren't any post-credit scenes in Endgame minus a mid-credit montage of all the MCU characters who appeared in the films, there is one little surprise at the very end of the credits, when the Marvel title card appears. If you listen closely, you can hear a faint clanging noise that sounds like metal being worked with. This is actually the sound effect from 2008's Iron Man film, back when Tony was building his Mach 1 Iron Man suit inside of a cave. And at number 6, Stan Lee. We all knew that Stan Lee had filmed multiple cameos in advance prior to his death, so it should be no surprise that he had a little cameo in Endgame. You can catch him at the start of the scene that takes place in the 1970s when Captain America and Tony Stark travel back to the S.H.I.E.L.D. camp Lahai. There's an establishing shot of the camp, and a car drives by it featuring Stan shouting out, I quote, "Make love not war, youngster." His car also has a bumper sticker that reads, "Nuff said," which was one of his common catchphrases in his Stan Soapbox column in Marvel Comics. And at number 5, I can do this all day. One of the many lines that are throwbacks to other MCU movies include this one from Captain America that he says while he's fighting his past self in 2012. This is actually a line that Steve has said twice in the past, the first being in the first Avenger in the 40s when he was getting beaten up in an alleyway pre-Super Soldier Serum, and the second in Captain America Civil War to Tony Stark. This time, his 2012 version says it to Cap, believing that Cap is Loki. Cap retaliates with an exhausted, "I know." Another great moment in this scene is when 2012 Cap has him in a headlock and he gets out of it by saying, "Bucky is alive." Talk about a distraction. And at number 4, cheeseburgers. One of the more bittersweet moments of the film at this number. After Tony's funeral, we see Happy sitting with Tony's daughter, Morgan. He asks Morgan if she's hungry, to which the young girl says, yeah, and that she wants a cheeseburger. Happy smiles, noting that her father liked cheeseburgers as well. This is a reference to 2008's Iron Man at the end of the film when Tony returns to the US and requests that he gets an American cheeseburger. You might remember it from the Burger King product placement. And at number 3, Cap's shattered shield. In the final battle scene prior to all of the dusted heroes showing up, Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man take on the Mad Titan. When things start to look bleak and it looks like Thanos might kill Thor, Captain America picks up Mjolnir and interjects. But his solo fight with Thanos ends badly. Thanos knocks him to the ground and literally nearly smashes his shield to bits. This is something that happened in the Infinity Gauntlet comic as well. While the circumstances are quite different, when Thanos and Cap duke it out in the comic, Thanos smashes his shield, crushing it to smithereens. In at number 2, I Am Iron Man. While this might be one of the most obvious references in the film, considering it happened at the penultimate moment of the climax, it's one that had to make it on our list. Oh boy, the impact it had. So back in 2008's Iron Man, the very first MCU film, at the end of the movie, Tony Stark declares to the press, "I am Iron Man." He decides against keeping his identity a secret, and in that one moment, the whole future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe changed. He started it all by introducing the world to superheroes publicly. Tony repeats this line at the end of the battle with Thanos, when he gets the upper hand on the Mad Titan and steals the stones from him, using them to snap and destroy all of Thanos' army and Thanos himself. That moment is especially poignant and important considering it leads to Tony's own death. It's the moment Doctor Strange had seen, hence why he sacrificed the Time Stone for Stark initially. Full circle, all the feels. And finally, in at number 1, Jim Starlin. In our previous part 1 of this list, we mentioned that one of the Russo brothers, Joe Russo, who co-directed the film, appeared in the group therapy scene with Captain America. He wasn't the only person behind the scenes though to have made a cameo in that particular moment. The group also contains Jim Starlin. Jim Starlin is the creator of Thanos and also the mind behind the Infinity Gauntlet comic. His work back in the 90s and late 80s at Marvel is largely responsible for the stories we now watch play out on the big screen. He doesn't have any lines, but it's still a pretty darn neat cameo. Alright, there we have it friends. What other Easter eggs did you notice? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know. If you dug this video, spread the love, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerds so you never miss any more MCU or Avengers Endgame content. We've also got a ton of other Endgame videos on our channel, including the part 1 to this list. So if you haven't checked it out now, head on over there and give it a look. In the meantime though, thanks for watching friends. I'll catch you all in the next video.